All right. Thanks for coming back. And this is another episode of UCF X's and O's. We are looking at UCF football. We are looking at the Baylor game. Um, Not a lot to be said. We kind of all know what happened. So let's get into it from the start. And let's just take it from the top. We're going to kind of run through this game. Some of the stuff that we might run through a little bit quicker. Um, and then might have a little bit more to talk about in the second half. But first play of the game, we're starting out very strong. We see at the bottom, it's Brandon Adams. He's right on top of the 20. He just does a great job of clamping this down, and he almost takes this back for 6 right here. So this ball it's right in his hands. It ends up being, bobbled. That's a good pass deflection. We don't mind that. We're feeling good about with Corey Thornton, Brandon Adams on the edges, and that's really been trying to force the ball either deep and outside or get them to the inside checkdowns. And that's something where maybe we haven't been the greatest in the middle of the defense, but I feel very strongly about just how good we've been, really from the points, covering corner to corner, and then deep free safety with Nakai. So do a really good job balling it up on second down, and then third down coming up. So 3rd and 7, still first series of the game, motion the running back into the backfield. We give them a pressure look. Ball's going to come out hot, and then we're doing a great job of rallying to the tackle. Nakai just does a really good job coming inside out. Brandon Adams fighting over the top, and defense is feeling good. And I think everybody in the stadium right now is feeling good. This is the very first series as in the Big 12 conference at home, and we're able to stop them right there and shut it down. First down after we force the punt. First series, first drive, and we are on the -79 right now. You're going to see a little bit of an in and out motion, yo-yo motion with the running back. That's Johnny Richardson. Um, I think we all know what happens on this play. He ends up going deep on it. We have a 3-by-1 nub set, so we open side to the field, 3 receivers set, and then we have the nub tight end down low. One thing that you might notice that you might not have seen before is we're giving the illusion of power read with the quarterback. So we actually have the right guard. He's going to be pulling through. So you're going to see the right guard pull, and that's actually going to help lead up. Those are plays that we've seen like JRP go through. Other thing that I just want to really, really take a note of and really kind of give credit to is seeing the receivers and seeing the blocks. So on the inside, we have on the inside slots, we have our good blocks, and then just taking a look up top, you're also able to see Xavier Townsend. He has his man just completely turned around. He's man with him. So now all of a sudden he's just running down his back. The cornerback has no idea. He has no idea that the ball is not in the air. I'm sure he's hearing the crowd going, and all of a sudden he's thinking, okay, it's a pass, it's a pass, it's a pass. In reality, he's running down the field, and then, Xavier is able to get that. Kobe gets away with a block in the back, but that's all right. That's for us, that's for the good guys, and, again, we're able to spring a touchdown right there. So taking a look again, this is from the end zone shot. You're going to see through the middle, you're going to see right guard pulling. We're going down, we're giving that quarterback power look, and then we end up still giving the ball off. I think we could have probably ran it, but I don't know. I don't know if we actually had a true read on their first play of the game. I think that we were probably trying to get the ball to the edge, trying to get Johnny to go. All right, second series, we get them again into a third down, 3rd and 5. We have a blitz look coming. So from the field on the 30, I believe that's Corey Thornton on his end. We're bringing corner blitz, cat blitz. Celiscar, the line, we're slanting away to the other side to the field. Celiscar does a great job of just creating the edge and forcing the quarterback to try to scramble, to try to go backwards. And obviously when he does, he's able to just run into drop right there. So it's just, it's a great job. Everybody's hustling. Everybody's trying to get around the ball. And that's just kind of exactly how you draw it up. That's about as good of a blitz as that you can try to force to them, is that quarterback doesn't recognize it. He's not throwing hot to the wide receiver. He's actually rolling to the field side. And then that's just one of the few sacks that he was able to get. Draymond just had a phenomenal game. So we got second offensive series. Again, touchdown drive. We're able to force the punt on defense. Do a really good job here of getting the wide receivers involved in the game after after just going a 81-yard play or 79-yard play, whatever it was, RPO action, able to hit Javon. That's a nice easy throw. And again, we know how big of a game he had. Really, at this point, everybody's just kind of still getting into the groove. It's almost like you didn't even get to warm up just because it was one play and you're done. So nice little end around action with Xavier. Kittler pulling out there. He's pulling out from the center spot and he's able to get way out there. So I think that's just one of those things where we're able to use our guys in space. Man, I really like this play call. I really like how we're able to just give them so much to think about from the backfield. And again, we're just leading a convoy of blockers up there. Yeah, not much to be upset about with that. We do a really nice job, and that's just really, really nice play all around. So, and then second and goal. This is a nice, easy read. Everybody's up on the line. They're bringing pressure. Pull it and go. That just, as far as pulls, that's about as easy as it gets right there. And comes screaming down the line, and that's, pull it, easy, walk it in, touchdown. Right now we're midway through the third drive on defense. Yeah, I don't know if it was something that we saw, if it was just that we realized that they like to try to do these boot actions, but we actually have another corner blitz coming here. This time is Damari Henderson coming from the short side. He's right on the arrow of the 40. He's coming, setting the edge. Just a really nice job of balling up the run again on first down. So 3rd and 9, same series. Giving him a man look, obvious passing down right now. We have the low safety, so kind of a low man spy look. This is just a great play. Malachi has been really, really good through 5 games. I think he has 4 or 5 sacks, but he's obviously doesn't even get that many reps in on defense. And we're looking for those pass rushers, right? So you're thinking that maybe he should be getting some more of these 3rd and long type reps. Really, it's just a great stunt. He's the looper. So, you have your tackle who's supposed to be setting the post, and tackle's going to be going outside, and he's looping on the inside. It's about as good as you can do right here. Offensive drive. We're only 10 minutes in the ball game. Again, we're doing a 3-by-1 upset. We're giving a play action, and this is a tight window. I don't necessarily know if I would always recommend that throw, but it ends up making it there, so it ends up being a good throw, right? Any throw that leads to completion and a touchdown. Yeah, that's obviously really, really good job. Again, Javon he was on fire today, and I think that's one of those things where you're hoping, hey, can we get Kobe? Can we get Javon? Can we get everybody in at the same time? It's tough sometimes, I think, because you start to focus your defense a little bit one way or another, and then also Xavier came up with some plays too. So it's a nice job. Basically, we're going to flood the coverage. We have 3 receivers going across on the right side, on the field side, and then you're also bringing the running back over. So we're going to try to push them and really take eyes away. But again, this is just one of those another individual great efforts. So still in the first quarter. This was a long quarter just as far as things that were going on. Corey Thornton, top of the screen, one-on-one. He just does a great job. Again, he's running the route for the wide receiver. The wide receiver had to turn into the cornerback, and Thornton just does a great job. Get the close up. It's great technique. He's staying inside and on top. Then all of a sudden the ball's in the air. He's about to catch this ball for another interception. It should be 2 already to start the game. And the receiver honestly does a good job of tipping this ball away at the very end. So that's kind of just one of those things where you see that and look at the receiver. The receiver turns into the corner. But, again, we're doing a great, great job on the edges. So they end up getting a first down in the drive. Something else just want to know. Again, up top of the screen, Corey Thornton again in coverage, and this is just unbelievable play. We're breaking on the ball. Receiver's able to actually get his hands on it, but just the way that he's able to finish through the hands of the wide receiver, knock the ball loose, and that's part of the technique too. You're not going to stop them from touching every single pass that's out there, but what you can do is try to break the hands after they do get there and not let them complete the pass. So again, very good individual effort, especially on first down as they cross into the start plus territory. So as Baylor's starting to drive, we just really have a big middle communication right here between backers, and then nickel bringing it across. So you're going to see they have the drive route, the drag route that's coming across, and then that's where the nickel is going to trail it. But we kind of get caught up in the wash. Now, obviously, we end up getting a guy breaking free completely, and I mean, if we're taking that across with the Jordan mask, then presumably the Yates is going to be covering the running back out of the backfield. Again, I don't know the specific call on the play just because obviously I'm not getting that luxury, but just the way that we're watching it, we're seeing safeties taking the slot. Mask is taking the tight end back. So we think that we need to be covering that. Why we don't cover it, I'm not 100% sure, but that's obviously going to lead down to the red zone opportunity and going to lead them into their first score of the game. So one of the plays, they're actually driving in for their first touchdown. This is second down. They're going to run basically it's a low red zone play. It's a 2-point conversion type play where they're going to give you the look that we're running a boundary toss. But what's going to happen is that wide receiver up top right there who's starting to get open, he fakes like he's going to block, and then he ends up slipping out. Cam Moore just does a great job right here. This is one of those ones where obviously it's just reactionary, but he sticks his hands up and he's actually able to knock down the pass. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be Quadrix, man. I don't know if that's supposed to be Jair Wilson. Somebody right there obviously is missing the outside receiver and just letting it slip right through. Cam Moore does a very good job. Obviously, we don't stop the touchdown on this drive, but what I think it does show is, unfortunately, we start to get our eyes a little bit lost in the backfield on some of these plays. So then later on down the road, we know that they end up converting a few 2-point conversions, and they are ultimately able to win the game because they are able to get those points. All right, so this is really the first drive of the game where we struggle a little bit on offense. We get the first down on the opening set of downs, but then we end up going 2nd and 5. Basically, everybody here is covered. We're running a little Ohio. The slot is on the out. Then we're running the vertical or the hawk route, however you want to call it. Nobody's open, so we just said, hey, throw it deep. That's all right. That's no harm, no foul. So we end up going pass down. They bring the pressure. We get a little bit nervous, and it's not a great throw. The issue that I have with it is that even if we were to catch this ball, we're running parallel to the line. So we have tight end, Randy Pittman. We need to get to the sticks. If that's ultimately the play that we're going to try to run, I would like it if we could get a little bit further in down the field. And that's another thing that we saw in the fourth quarter. A few of those plays that we needed to get just a few more yards in the route, and unfortunately, we just, we weren't able to do that. All right, so we're finally out of the first quarter, going into the second quarter. 3rd and 3. This is kind of one of those any type downs. We know that they need to keep the ball moving, especially just being down multiple scores. You don't want to get down too late. Unfortunately, they end up busting this for a long run. They catch us in a cross dog blitz, meaning that both linebackers are going to be shooting through the middle. They're doing a cross game, an X game, and then unfortunately Matthew Alexander, he gets the worst of he just gets washed down, and that leads to a huge hole right there. That's obviously it's one of those things where they just had a good play called, especially when we were blitzing right there. So unfortunately, that was the result of it. End up getting a big first down because of that, and then they're starting to move. They're starting to get momentum on the other side. Okay, so they end up getting to the plus side of the field. Now they are driving in. One of the things that we've talked about through the first few games, whether it's Boise State, Kansas State, some of our linebacker fits in our run gap spacing has been a little bit off. I'm not 100% sure what happens here. You can see that they're running split zone, meaning that the tight end who's in the wing is coming across, and he's going to be opposite the running back, so they are doing a cross motion. But the line is still going to the offensive left or to the defensive right. Jason Johnson, I'm not 100% sure what he's seeing right here that's causing him to basically to overstep left. I would think just in most of the defenses, you can see Yates is pushing across with it. I would think that for the most part, we're reading line to backer or line to running back, so that's going to be our indicator fit. Is we're going to see the flow of the line, and then we're going to start finding the ball from there. We are rolling down with the safety, and unfortunately, I think Damari Henderson right here, he ends up getting kind of the worst of it because he's trying to fit inside, and that's not normally where your safeties are best fitting. Your safeties normally don't fit the A gap. Normally the safeties are kind of running the alley, helping push and using some of their leverage. So again, this is something that makes me nervous for Kansas, makes me nervous just down the road against running teams. Um, yeah, we're kind of leveraging the wrong way, and I know Jason did have a lot of he had a lot of tackles in the game. Um, but I think that this is something that we've seen now for a few games that unfortunately other teams are going to try to take advantage just by using a lot of cross motions, back motions. And again, Kansas running their triple option out of the backfield. I think that we are going to see a lot of just a lot of eye candy that's going to really require us to be disciplined. Just like when you're playing Navy or any of the other triple option teams, you are going to have to be a little bit more disciplined and read your keys because a lot of the times the offensive line is going to take you to where the ball is actually supposed to be, and the other receivers and the running backs, when they're running their motions and they're running their fakes, they're really trying to get you to go to the wrong place. So this is the play that really helps UCF out. Change a lot of the momentum that Baylor's starting to get on us. They're starting to drive. They're down to the 15-yard line. Um, Again, it's great individual effort. We saw Damari unfortunately get trucked over a few plays before, but then right here, you know, running back, he's still staying up, and then he just great job doing just rip it, strip it, and just run it all the way back. I don't think half the people on the Baylor sideline even knew what happened. So that was just a great individual play. So something really encouraged about is seeing Cam Moore get more snaps at linebacker, and I think that he did a good job with the snaps that he had. We saw earlier in the game he had the touchdown breakup where he's able to reach back, just reactionary. Right here, you can see him. I mean, this is just a good job. He's spying the quarterback. His eyes are on it, and he's not letting Shapen break the pocket, go in for a big run. Um, yeah, you can see him. He almost fires off. He almost goes, and then he stays home. And that was just a really good job. I don't know if they counted this as a sack or if they considered it a scramble, but basically he's the one who's stopping Shapen from really taking off because otherwise, I don't know. That's probably a big run right there. That's probably a first down. So just a really good job again, and encouraging to see that he's getting reps out there at linebacker. All right, so now we're back in the second half. This is obviously the half with all the action, everything that kind of happened, the downfall, a lot of negative stuff. Obviously, what happened, I'm not 100% sure. It's we seem to obviously let our foot off the gas, and Baylor played really tough. It's tough in the second half too when the other team, when they know what you're trying to do. We know that we're trying to juice out the clock. They know that we're trying to juice out the clock. So they're able to put up a little bit better of an effort stopping the run. They know, especially on those early downs, exactly kind of what's going to happen. And that was putting us in some long situations to start the series. So starting out with a 3rd and 9, ends up turning into a scramble drill. This is very similar to, say, what we saw with the K-State. It's kind of one of those it's kind of scary oh shit plays right here, right? In the last week, we end up firing the ball over Randy Pittman's head by about 10 yards for an interception right before the half. This time we're actually able to find Haller, but it's the same thing. We're scrambling to the left sideline, um, but this time we're able to make the play and convert it, and that's it's scary, obviously, right? But it's something where we made the play. We can see the improvisation by Timmy. Um, so you take, some of those positives and negatives, right? You take that playmaking ability, um, and obviously at certain times it is going to scare you. But ultimately, we were able to make the play, so no harm, no foul, right here. And we end up getting to 3rd and 9 situation. And again, this is obvious pass down. And this drive it's only extended because we had a Baylor sideline violation where somebody ran into the referee. Otherwise, this is a sack on 3rd and 9. Really, there's not a ton open from the immediate, what we can see. Obviously, we don't have the full shot just because it's the TV copy. Um, but it's one of those things where we weren't exactly gelling because we didn't necessarily have everything clicking. Our last offensive touchdown was in the first quarter. Obviously we had a defensive touchdown, and then we probably could have gotten points. But yeah, our last offensive touchdown was in the first quarter. So this is able to help extend the drive. And then we end up getting a holding call. We end up getting a holding call. So it was 1st and 20, then 2nd and 15. We scrambled for it. Now 3rd and 12. Another pretty obvious pass down. This is just a really great individual play by Javon. He's able to run the comeback. The only thing I would say is that we're catching about a yard short of the sticks now. Obviously, if you're 4th and 1, that's pretty good. That's pretty good territory where you can go for it. But I don't know exactly how we're calling that. If we're kind of getting aware of the sticks, if we need to be aware of the sticks, that's something where you would think that everybody should be trying to cross them. But it's really, really good ball by Timmy. So can't say much more about that. And then the run after the catch, just really a nice opportunity. The one thing that I would note is right around the 9:30 mark is when I noticed that it looked like Bula came in at center for Kittler. He's holding his own right here, and I didn't personally notice any difference when I was watching the game. So I didn't notice anything different with the snaps. I didn't notice anything different with how we were playing up front at the center position. So I know we fumbled it, and that ended up ultimately probably sealing a lot of what happened for us. But just to say, I thought the transition was smooth. If nobody else can tell, then that's a pretty good transition right there at the center spot. Same drive, we get down again. We're 3rd down now. We're 3rd and goal. Um, Really nice play with Xavier. We're in a little bit of a scramble drill now. Everybody's kind of breaking away. Your initial routes are stopped, but he just Xavier on a linebacker. That's not gonna that's easy right there. Especially if that guy's has to cover him for more than 4 seconds, he's not going to be able to. He might be able to stonewall him, stop him from trying to cross, but he's never going to be able to keep up with him. And that's Xavier's too good of a player. Really nice job getting his hand up. Really nice job at Timmy finding him. So we're starting our first defensive drive. I mean, offensively that was a great drive. We were able to take off a lot of minutes off the clock, kind of try to even out that time possession, and get our defense just a second of rest. Uh, I mean, again, we were just having a really nice game with Tremon. He's beating the edge. He's get that little bit of a rugby tackle for the sack where he's able to clip the heel out. But yeah, this is. I think everybody felt really good right here, right? You end up getting a sack to start the half. Um, Defense as of right now was looking very good. Only let up 7 points and also had their own score. So Baylor had a few nice plays. And we know that's going to happen in this conference. Chapin is a good quarterback. He made a few nice plays. He had a nice little flip play to the running back, get them in a first down territory. But again, this is Tremon. It's a high snap, but he's able to stay home. They're trying to run the action the other way, and we're able to force in a throwaway. And throwaways are good. I mean, I know people want to talk about sacks. They want to talk about those types of stats, but just pressures, hits on the quarterback, forcing the bad throw. Those are things that obviously you're not going to get 40 sacks in a game. You might get 3 sacks in a game if you're a defense and you're playing well. So these are the types of plays that you are looking to make. It's that smart heads up play, getting in a good rush, not getting the penalty afterwards like we've seen in other situations. I think Baylor probably started feeling pretty good offensively. At least they started moving the ball on this drive. Get a hard boot action, and unfortunately, we just lose the tight end. It's 3rd and 5. 3rd and 5. We just we're going with the action, and we're running the cross countries or the offense is running the cross countries, and the closest guy to the line who's running a little chip off the end, he's the one who ends up getting the first down right there. So it's a nice play by Baylor. Next play is it's a tough one. So in theory, most of the runs out of gun like this, most of the runs it is going to be back going across the formation, but they run speed option to the field. Um, the one thing, I know it's harping on it, but the one thing I would say is, man, we're taking a really aggressive first step with Jason. Now, for a lot of the, say, the stack, track, and fall back for the linebacker spot, a lot of the time you're going to sit and you're going to read it, and you don't want to be gaining that much ground right now. You want to be able to meet them, but you don't necessarily need to beat them there. So, man, we're really losing ground there. Up top, up top, we're not getting off the block, and he has quarterback. Salazar is quarterback. We're not getting off the block really well, and you can see that. And then Cam is just trying to fight across, and unfortunately, he takes a little bit of a bad angle. Probably should have been flatter off the bat, and then he can't even catch it. But again, this is, I think was that Jair Wilson, or excuse me, no, that's Quadric. So Quadric is just stuck on the block right there, and I mean that's teach tape. I know that I keep saying it. I know everybody keeps saying it, but I just can't say enough about Traymon's game. Just does a really fantastic job here. He's the boundary side end. He's the end on the top of the screen. Surfs down with it. He's playing a surf technique. He's not chasing the running back on the dive. He surfs it. The quarterback pulls it, and he has enough speed to then get the correct angle, get flat out there, and then make the tackle in the backfield. I don't know if they gave him a sack for that or not. But he's able to stop the play, and he's trying to pull it and get to the edge, and Draymond is just, again, that's fundamentals right there. It's surfing down the line and then going back, taking the quarterback. So I know after the game, it was either after the game or early in the week, Gus talked about, we needed one play. One play really would have decided the game, helped us win the game. This is one of them right here. Quarterback just kind of floats up a duck. There's multiple guys there. Unfortunately, man, we're about a hand away from Corey Thornton just ending the ball game. We flush him. It's a good pass rush. Malachi does a good job, and then we're able to force a bad ball. I think that this is one of those situations they end up getting a field goal out of it. We end up just getting the interception. I mean, the game likely over. And man, we're a hand away. It's close.
So we got next offensive series for UCF. This one unfortunately, ends up being an interception. Series starts out good though. We're running kind of that similar play that we ran in week 1, I believe it was, where we have running back. I think we hit RJ Harvey for a touchdown, but you end up starting to flood the defense a little bit, right? So we bring over the motion, and then we're going to run it straight up the seams. So we're running tight end, Randy Pittman. It's just a nice play. So again, you're feeling pretty good about what's going on, right? Next play, we're giving them kind of that same action. We're going jet the other way, but now we're running the screen to the boundary. So just do a nice job of getting Holler involved now. Back-to-back plays, we get tight ends, get the first down. Now we are starting to pace them a little bit. So we start to go clock. We're trying to go fast. We're running that little trick play. We're running the fight song, jazz. We also ran that. Week 1, we scored a touchdown on it. We actually hit Holler in the seam for this play. Unfortunately, he ends up slipping immediately. So he's on the ground when this play happens. And you can see it on the right box. So he ends up slipping. We got the tackle over who he's pretending like he's a wide receiver. The issue, though, is that we got called for too many guys in the backfield. And this is actually a Chauncey Magwood sighting, which fans are probably excited about because it's our first one. But unfortunately, it was just, we had too many players in the backfield. So where the tackle is, who's standing up pretending to be a wide receiver, we have Holler then who's lined up as the right tackle. But we need to have the offensive lineman on the ball. We need to have him up another yard on the line of scrimmage, and then the receiver actually needs to intentionally cover him. We like to run this play in tempo just so the defense can't see it, can't prepare for it. And unfortunately, we didn't do the best job of lining up correctly. And that unfortunately was getting us a penalty. Um, so end up going next two plays, run plays, not great plays, or not great outcomes. The play was the play. The outcome wasn't great, and then all of a sudden we're stuck in 3rd and 15. Again, though, we're in a pretty good position where, you get 6-7 yards, you play for the field goal. We're going to get points. We're going to be all right. This is just one of those plays that, unfortunately, again, we take the good and the bad. Instead of trying to roll and scramble this way, probably should have climbed the pocket. We have the looping end, so we don't climb the pocket. We end up rolling. Now we're rolling the opposite way, for a lefty. Now we're rolling opposite. And then we don't put enough, strength into this ball. We have enough time right here, right? Plant your feet, set up. If you really want to make that throw, you can plant your feet, set up, and get everything you want into it and give it a good throw. Unfortunately, it's just, I think things started to move very quickly, and the decision-making process started to speed up again. Climb that pocket, plant your feet, rip it. This is just a turn and go, and I don't know if we, in the middle of the field, if somebody else is open. Again, this is tough to tell on the broadcast camera. But just taking a look at this, I don't know if this throw was ever open. So this is it's kind of one of those head-scratching things. And then I know that we are basically at the end of the 3rd quarter, and we're about to go into the 4th quarter, and that's obviously where things really go down. Again, this is one of those other ones. Gus mentioned in the press conference, just one play, make one play. I mean, this thing is in the hands right there. This play is one of those. I mean, if it gets tipped, it happened to us against Boise State. You got Jair Wilson right here, and again, we're missing it by a hand, we're missing it by fingertip, and you got the ball right there. I mean, that's game over too. But sometimes it's just the way it happens. You got to keep playing, and unfortunately, you got to keep playing better defense in the 4th. But this is one of those plays. One hand, one catch, game's over. All right, so now we're early in the 4th quarter. Early in the 4th quarter, we have 2nd and 2. The minus 39. This is kind of one of those you might be able to do anything type of downs, right? 2nd and 2. They end up loading up and hitting it for deep play. Unfortunately, it looks like we're playing scooch technique by the safety, so we're going back, and eventually we just kind of get blown by. And between the two, between Quadric and Jair, neither one of them can stop this throw down the seam. So unfortunately, it's one of those things where you eventually get to a point where you either got to kind of reroute the guy or you got to turn and go with him. And I think we get kind of caught in no man's land here. Ends up being just, again, it's a good quarterback, so it's a good throw by him too, especially with a little bit of pressure coming. This was about 2 plays later, and again, FS1, they can't exactly get everything correctly, but you can see this is the touchdown run. We're getting a late look into it, but our defense, we talked about this last game, we weren't lined up correctly. We weren't even ready for it. Ends up being a pretty easy touchdown for him, right? So we're still kind of standing around, walk it in. I think that's like their 3rd or 4th option running back. You can see us, we're moving over just as we are kind of getting our hands in the dirt. We're still communicating. I mean, the snap's already gone. Snap is gone. We're looking the opposite way. Maybe a little bit of hold on Jason Johnson, but that's, it's one of those things where we're not in the best position possible to start. I get it. There's a few subs on the line right there, but that is one of those things. Looking at the 2-point conversion again, this is one of those plays where we talked about kind of losing our assignment, losing the guys who are running across. We think the quarterback, we think that he's getting sacked in the backfield, and then we have the bunch set, and this is actually coming all the way across from the bunch. Scramble, find it, 2 guys wide open. I mean, that's unfortunately, I'm not 100% sure what the call was, what we were doing. But obviously this is just we're losing it right here. So that's I think everybody could feel a little bit of a shift in momentum right there at least, and realize, these 2 point conversion plays that they had, they were doing a good job picking on us, and I think that other teams are going to see that, and they're going to try to use that to their advantage as well. Next drive coming out 3rd and 3. I mean, I don't have a ton of issue with the play calls that were leading up to this. I mean, we got a first down, we were moving, we were still running our base stuff, and right now it doesn't get much more wide open than this, especially at this level of football. It's a great route in the slot. Townsend just turns him around. He gets into the blind spot. If that's a better throw, we convert this. Unfortunately, we end up punting, then we end up shanking the punt. But this is one of those plays. We have max protection, 7-man protection. That's easy pitch and catch. That's about as easy as it gets. And I know fans are complaining, obviously, because we lost what happened in the final box. But make one of these plays, we never have to worry about it. It never even gets close. So we end up shanking the punt. They get a short field. Seeing we get the trips bunch. It's close. On this side, on this side, we're running basically, so we have corner. We're going to run safety back to the middle of the field, and we're running kind of a cloud cover 3 to the opposite side. So cloud is in the corner being the force guy to the top of the field. And so we're running 3. Unfortunately, again, this looks like linebacker. I think it's Yates. Somebody has to take the 3 receiver through. So, 1, 2, 3. Somebody has to take it and carry through the middle. And it's unfortunate. It's tough. So, we don't get it, and they end up getting a huge play out of it. This is just, it's wide open. Again, they get down 1st and goal situation. Again, this is kind of that area. It's the low red zone. They're, again, kind of running the boot action, the 2-point type plays. For whatever reason, again, we keep losing the crossers. We keep losing the guys in the middle. We actually do a pretty good job picking up the tight end who's coming down on the slider. He's actually sliding behind the offensive line, and I think he's the initial read who they're trying to get lost in the action. But it could have been to any one of those 3 receivers. So unfortunately, it's one of those things. We have to clean it up. We know we have to clean it up. What we're doing, I'm not 100% sure in this situation. Definitely we're busting it right here, and that's just one of those things. You need to be a little bit tighter to routes, and I'm sure we're going to work on that, because somebody else is going to see that, and they're going to keep coming after us doing these types of things. Just that boot action enough was able to influence us and get us out of position. So again, now got the 2-point play. Game's getting tighter. We end up bringing 7 right here. So really, I mean, this is not even 0. We're -1. We end up bringing 7. They're putting 5 out on the route. This ends up, I mean, again, this is just about as easy as it can get. Anybody could have made that. And I'm not 100% sure. See Selsgar's putting up his hands. I don't know if we were supposed to have somebody drop out and peel. My guess would be that if you have back coming out, leaking out to your side, then you have to peel out of the blitz. But again, without knowing the call. But yeah, these 2-point plays are just, they've been killer to us. But again, we get into a 3rd down, obvious passing situation. Again, I mean, we have Xavier just doing a great job. He's, again, able to get into the blind spot, able to turn them. We get the throw, 1st down. I mean, easy pitch and catch. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that series earlier, but we are able to get it this one, so we should be in a good position. We just crossed the 50. We should be getting it rolling now. Okay, so I want to say, actually, in this play, I want to say we had a little bit of a miscommunication. I mean, this is a great run by Johnny, right? So, a little inside zone read. We're not blocking the edge. And I'm 99% sure Timmy was trying to pull this ball. You can see he actually stumbles and falls afterwards. Yeah, I'm pretty positive that he's trying to pull this ball. So, again, Johnny ends up making a great play out of it, and we should score. But watch this. I mean, this is the type of thing, we saw it happen a few times with Keen last year. We end up fumble the exchange, and it's scary. I mean, it's one of those things that they haven't been able to get nearly as much time in practice with. I'm sure that they would have if you were the regular starter throughout the off season. Ends up being a positive play, but it's just one of those things that you see it and it makes you nervous when you realize what happened, and then just kind of put salt on the wound. You see Johnny's face after he's getting subbed out. He's not exactly happy. He's Johnny getting subbed out. Great run, thank you very much, but we're subbing you out right here. So we get into the situation, 3rd and 5. We know what happens. We end up going Wildcat. This is actually Mark Anthony Richards coming across. I don't know if he'd actually had played for the rest of the game. To me, the snap doesn't look terrible. I don't know exactly what happened. I don't want to watch the run back. It's just unfortunately, we end up trying to dive on it. Holler tries diving on it. He ends up kicking it. And then, worst possible scenario happens. So we know what happens. He ends up going out the gate for a touchdown. All right, so after the score, we go next drive. We have the option on. They run a good, it's a good call. They got corner blitz coming. Unfortunately, we just see it late, and we don't turn and throw it immediately. So we start to run to daylight. Actually, this actually happened at Auburn SEC championship game versus Alabama. I think it was 2013. Nick Marshall ends up throwing a late toss out there. But he stayed behind the line. That's one of those things. I don't fault Timmy for that. He saw what he saw. It happened quick, and I don't think he realized that he was even over the line. It's just these things are happening so fast. Obviously, they don't have the benefit of the doubt of the blue line in front of you, and by that time that he had already crossed, I don't think he'd realized it. But yeah, I mean, overall, though, it's not a play that you can get mad at the player for making. He's trying to make the play, especially after the game got tighter. He knew that we needed to make a play, and we tried to right there. So, fortunately, the penalty puts us in the situation. So we got 3rd and 10 coming up. That one actually is a low snap right there. So I don't know if anybody had caught that earlier. I mean, that one was a low snap, but we are able to get it. I think initially too, if I'm looking at the top of the screen, we end up being incomplete. And again, this is really tough because things are happening. He's a lefty. He had to take his eyes off it. But if you look down, down the middle, Holler's kind of creeping across. I think he could have potentially gotten there, but also we had RJ going the opposite way too. RJ's leaking out late after the chip, and I think RJ, at least if he doesn't get it, I at least think he has a chance. I mean, this ball right here is highly contested. 2 defenders, probably should have been pick. So next drive, I mean, this is kind of the game-winning drive for them. This is one of those ones where I don't necessarily think that we're lined up correctly. Somebody could tell me I'm completely wrong, but you see what they're doing right here on the left side. I mean, look at that. And I know that Baylor has a lot of tight ends, but just it looks like we're plus outgapped. 3rd and 2, we got to think it's run. 3rd and 2, we are bringing the guy, we are bringing the safety, but I would think with this personnel we might have maybe put in a little bit heavier personnel. I don't know exactly what we have for heavy fronts. You see the Alabamas, you see the Georgias of the world. When they see a front like this or something heavy, you see multiple tight ends coming out. You're gonna see them really line up for 13, and it looks like we're still in base. So I mean, it's 3 tight ends. Everybody's just washing down, and I mean, if we don't make that tackle, that could have been a touchdown as well. 1st and 10, we actually get a really nice pressure. We're bringing, I think, safety blitz, nickel blitz. I mean, we're running the hoop right there. Safety blitz. We're getting around the tackle. Just a really nice job. We actually, again, we almost get the strip sack right there. Get the strip sack, game's over. We're close. just a hand away. It's game of inches, right? And so we're bringing a pressure, right? We're bringing Cam Moore. He's coming off the top. So I don't know what we have to check out of this, but when they do that quick sprint out and now they're going to empty, you see Nakai has to leave and he has to go cover the running back because we have nobody else up there. Well, all of a sudden we're running quick screen down to the bottom, and then we end up just busting it. It's missed tackles right there, right? It's missed tackles, but we're not aligned. Nakai makes that tackle, and you saw where he started, right? You saw that he was all the way on the other side. He had to cover the running back up top. I don't know what our ability is to check out of blitzes, because we saw that it happened again in Boise State where we got burned on mesh wheel, running back wheel, and we were blitzing, I think, 2 to that side, and nobody covered the back out of the backfield. So really, we've got kind of the last offensive play for Baylor. 3rd and 7. They were trying to juice the clock at this point because they're in easy field goal range. They go that hard boot action, and then we actually end up covering a lot better this time. But we end up losing the edge. We lose the contain on the quarterback. He ends up just doing the smart thing, tuck it, run it, keep the clock moving, and then they kick the field goal. So, unfortunately, it's a little bit too little, too late. Corey Thornton, unfortunately, ends up kind of coming up limping. I hope he's okay. I don't know if I've seen any reports about him being injured, but that's just one of those things where, man, you start playing a lot of defensive snaps. I think cramping and one of those things is definitely something you got to worry about. All right, so last drive of the game. I mean, it's we started out with minute 14 and try to go win it. These are the types of things that you practice every single day towards the end of practice or just the middle of practice. You put out these scenarios. Hey, we got 90 seconds. We got to go get 50 yards, whatever it is. And no timeouts. So first play, we're trying to leak out holler. I mean, it's a good concept. We have him on it. It's safety's up high. He's not going to get to that in time, but we kind of sail the ball a little bit too far. Next throw, we're trying to set up a screen. I don't know if we set this up great or if we were even supposed to go to this side of it, because we do have the wide receiver screen on the top, and I don't know if you guys can kind of see that, but we do have the wide receiver screen on top, and wide receiver screen might have been a better throw. This one right here to the field side, I mean, they sniff it out pretty good, and then the throw was just it's way too high. So unfortunately, we ended up getting it to the 3rd down, or excuse me, and then we went to the crazy 4th down play. But I kind of skipped through that just because. I mean, there's stuff to talk about, but there's not really a whole lot to talk about, if that makes any sense. This play I actually thought was going to end the game right here was the very next throw. Again, we're trying to run the Hawk concept, the Ohio. Vertical, then out. This time the safety on the bottom actually ends up jumping it. That probably could have been 6 the other way as well. Next play, 2nd and 10. Got this one, McCoby. I mean, he makes a really, really great strong hands play. He's working in the slot. He's working the comeback. Again, there's 2 guys right there. I mean, that's potentially could be a pick or at least a deflection. Ends up being a catch, and he has the awareness to then get out of bounds, which, it's just a good play. It's continuing to give us a chance, which is about all we can ask for in these situations. Unfortunately, I don't really love this play right here. This is what I was talking about earlier in the video, where talking about getting the routes to the sticks, right? Well, up top, I think that's Xavier right there up top in the slot. If we get that, that's 1st down. That's a wide open throw. Right now, we are getting to holler, and I can see probably the thought process on this one is we're going to get it over to the sideline. We get to the sideline, we can get out of bounds. But we got to remember, if we get 1st down, then we're also stopping the clock. So we end up kind of getting into this hurry situation where we end up rushing it for, I think it's 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. We rush it, we get the 1st down, then we're able to spike the ball. But it's just kind of one of those things. Again, you end up throwing up top to the slot. You have a little bit more time. Maybe you get a few more plays, or maybe you get a little bit closer. Maybe you get a little bit closer for the field goal attempt, so you're not trying a 60-yard or whatever it was. And then this is essentially the last offensive play of the game. we go deep. I think, I don't hate this throw. I think that we potentially could have given him maybe a little bit. I don't know. Again, you give him a play call where maybe you have a chance of getting it somewhere in the middle of the field, then we can clock it on first down. Unfortunately, not the way that we wanted it to go. Again, it was one of those situations where just I think we started to let off the gas, and then I think that we started to lose the flow a lot. Time, just time on the field on defense. Some of your rushers, they start to get tired. The D line, they're in a full sprint basically trying to get the sacks. You end up having your quarterback, he gets a little bit out of a rhythm, and now some of these throws we're seeing later on in the game, they're a little bit high, they're a little bit off, and it's just, you go on the bench and you're kind of sitting around, especially with TV timeouts and things like that. So not an easy situation. They need to bounce back. They really, really, really right now need to shore up some of these run fits, get set on defense a little bit quicker, and make sure that we are continuing to convert on offense. Making sure that we're keeping the ball moving, whether that is easier throws, whether that's making sure that we get to the sticks, making sure that we're finishing blocks. I think Kansas is going to be a shootout. I think that we're going to have shootouts pretty much for the rest of the year, and that's just is what it is. We've done this before, the Cardiac Nights. But having said that, if you're fundamentally sound, that is the way that you can stay in some of these ball games. If not, then there's going to be some high scores, and fans might not exactly love that. But we'll see what happens. So, anyways, guys, hey, thank you so much for checking it out. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you so much.